We're watching NVIDIA's results out for the first quarter, and the revenue surged 61% year over year. But there are parts of the report that people are nitpicking through. So let's get some pros here. Daniel Rubino, executive editor, Windows Central, and Logan Gilland, analyst at Jewel Financial. Daniel, what did you think about what you saw with the NVIDIA report?
I mean, it's basically all good news, right? Demand is up for everything. Gaming is making up almost half of their revenue. We're seeing increases in AI. Their data center business is also doing well. And there's just a lot of prospect. And they seem to be better understanding the cryptocurrency demand / potential risk there with their GPUs, with some of the news they announced this week regarding kind of crippling their cards. So we're all very happy with the news here. We're talking long-term lookout for NVIDIA is very good. Now, short-term, they do have some issues, including that semiconductor shortage, which isn't their fault per se, but it is something that they have to contend with, as well as other companies in this area. So it's not completely on them, but it is something that's going to affect the next few quarters until everybody can kind of catch up on this.
All right. And Logan, were you surprised by anything within the report? What did you focus on?
It was an excellent report, like our other panelists mentioned. And I mean, looking at the report, it kind of shows some other things that we're seeing in other places of the market, that even though we have a great earnings report, the stock is down today because they were already factoring in this big COVID surge of demand. And, pretty much every person out there has heard about this chip shortage in some way. So, that was already priced in to the NVIDIA price. And that's why we see, a little bit of weakness here today.
Logan, why do you like some of the other names like Semtech and Applied Materials? I think you had those on your list as some names that you like.
Yes, we like those just based on what they're doing and eating up market share and things of that nature. But, across the market, we have kind of the same game plan. We don't want to be chasing anything at this moment. And semis are a space that has been all over the place, going up and up and up with this, chip shortage as well as a huge demand. So what we're still waiting for is a little bit of a pullback in order to go into those names we like you mentioned.
Right. And Daniel, do you think that the chip shortage may be behind us, or at least the worst of it, as we hear from General Motors? You have the Biden administration now issuing executive orders. Do you think the chip shortage continues for 2021, or do you think that it's going to be pared back here a little bit?
I think we're at the beginning of the tail end. I think we'll still see it for another quarter or so, depending on basically how fast the pandemic kind of ends here, and the demand for computers and everything.
Right.
We expect it to dwindle.
Daniel, what names do you like when you look at the broader spectrum of all these names? I know you mentioned NVIDIA, and I always think NVIDIA gaming, right? But there's all kinds of rotation happening. The semi space is not just one thing. I mean, it has so many facets to it. Are there certain areas or companies that you like more than others, Daniel?
Well, the big one that gets all the attention, of course, is AMD. And next week, they're going to have a big announcement regarding their new graphics card, which we're expecting to be the mid-range, highly competitive against NVIDIA. And AMD has a lot of momentum right now. We're talking about stocks here that are pretty massive, pretty expensive to buy into. And how far up they can go is going to be really interesting versus what some of the other panelists was referencing are a little bit lower, more affordable. So in that sense, AMD is going to be the one to watch here. But I don't think anyone's going to be a loser per se. They're both good companies, and there's a lot of space here for both of them.
I thought it was interesting that Tesla said that they're shutting the production line down of the Model 3 for 2 weeks amid the chip shortage. Logan, what do you think when we talk about what we've been seeing in the market? And I know you've seen some weakness of late and some rotation. Were you surprised to see Tesla say this?
Well, what we've seen with the weakness in the tech space is really, like you mentioned, a sign of rotation and where we're moving going forward. And we see, rotating into more things like industrials, materials, and metals, moving forward, while tech is showing some weakness here. And so we, with the Tesla thing in regards to that, taking a little bit of time to wait for this chip shortage to see how it all plays out before they move forward with their thing. But I see rotation in the total market.
And when we talk about the total market, Daniel, I mean, this is something we talk to you about, everything from gaming to, right, Xbox and PlayStation and tech and all things. What's the big picture here? I mean, you're not going to tell me tech is done, right, Daniel? I mean, where do you see some strength going forward?
Well, I'm really, really curious how this ARM deal happens with NVIDIA. So obviously it's a $40 billion deal. It's or $40 million. It's a lot, right? And Microsoft, Google are now challenging this and basically complaining that they don't want NVIDIA to have this. Now, NVIDIA, to their credit, said they're going to play with the open license here. They're going to not change anything. But obviously, all these companies are concerned. I don't know of a better company than NVIDIA, to be honest, that could handle this. Frankly, no one would be happy. Microsoft wouldn't be a good purchaser of this either. Neither would Google. And AMD, same thing. So I'm not really sure how this is going to play out, how regulatory commissions are going to look at it, especially in Europe.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an interesting story. I think it's going to be delayed. They have, I believe it was 22 months. They said it was going to be wrapped up. I'm not as keen on that as they are.
All right, Logan, I'll give you a final 20 seconds, 10, 15 seconds. Go for it, Logan.
I think overall, semis have done amazing, but like I've mentioned before, they're kind of priced in at this level of this high COVID demand. So it'll be very interesting to see where we move forward, especially with semis and big tech. But I think there's definitely going to be opportunities in the market for a little bit more value than these high growth stocks that are expensive right now.
Great conversation. Thank you both, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. Daniel Rubino, Executive Editor, Windows Central, and Logan Gilland, Analyst at Jewel Financial. Thank you both.